Of course, we just came out of the Super Bowl Sunday. Kansas City, Tampa Bay. Kansas City got Thanosed by Tampa Bay, man. I'm talking about Thanos had the Infinity Gauntlet on, and I'm talking about he just demolished them, right? Like it was Infinity War, and he destroyed the Avengers. So, few things I kind of want to touch on. So first, I want to give Tampa Bay and Tom Brady their props. The defense played extremely well. They got after it. The offensive line blocked very well for Tom Brady. Tom Brady completed his passes at a high rate. He did what he had to do to win that game. He took advantage of opportunities when Kansas City either turned the ball over or they had short fields from maybe shank punts. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I have to give them props for that. But there's a few things I want to touch on. One thing I want to mention that going into that game, we saw that Britt Reed, Andy Reid's son, actually got into a car accident. Apparently, he was impaired. He had been drinking. And in that accident, there was a 5-year-old girl that got injured, man. It's in some critical condition. So for my prayer warriors out there, man, definitely send some prayers. I don't know the young lady's name. But that's a tough situation. I can imagine that was weighing heavily on Andy Reid. And it really looked like his team wasn't fully prepared in that game. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that they would have won that game. Because quite honestly, going into that game, they were at an extreme disadvantage with the offensive line injuries that caught up with them. Eric Fisher, Pro Bowl caliber left tackle, was out with a Achilles tear, which he's going to have surgery for. Their right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz, has been missing for weeks. Kalicia Assembly at guard had been missing. And before the season, the starting guard, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif from Canada, he opted out of the season so that he could be a first responder, because I think he's a doctor out there in Canada. And so, for all intents and purposes, they were going up against that D-line with 4 backups, 1 starter and 4 backups on the offensive line. The only starter was a center. And then they had to move one tackle to left tackle. They moved 1 guard to right tackle, and they shuffled their offensive line around. And the Chiefs didn't adjust to that. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is going to get a lot of blame. I don't think he should get as much blame as he should, and I thought it was unfair that everybody hyped him up and gave him all his glory before the game just to knock him down after the game. But I don't put it all on him. I mean, he was 2 drop passes away from them scoring 2 touchdowns. Darrell Williams dropped a pass. Tyreek Hill dropped a pass in the end zone. Travis Kelce dropped a key 3rd down conversion in the first half that contributed to Tampa Bay getting a short field. But I think the coaching staff failed him. So when I say that is, I don't feel like they ran the ball enough. Going into this game, I thought that Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be a key component to them having the ability to compete with Tampa Bay. When you go back to last year when they played against the 49ers, who I believe had a better defense than Tampa Bay this year, Damian Williams, who was a running back at the time, had a huge game. He broke off some long runs. He beat him in the passing game on wheel routes, some choice routes. I think he scored twice. You could have made the case that he should have been Super Bowl MVP. When you fast forward to this season, and all season long, they've been pass heavy. They went away from the run. They started out the first game of the season, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had his coming out party, and I know he ran for more than 100 yards. I think he had close to 25 carries. And since then, they've been less balanced. And, you know, in this game, when you look at what Tampa Bay did, they were in cover 2, whether it was man or cover 2 zone, just about all game long. That's what they ran. So they had 2 deep safeties. And the Chiefs were trying to spread them out. So when you're spreading them out, when you're in shotgun like that, there's going to be at least 1, if not 2 linebackers out of the box that's creating space. And the numbers should show that you should run the ball in those situations. They didn't really start running the ball until the second half. Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 9 carries for 64 yards. I'm not a math major, but that's over 7 yards per carry, guys. And then he only got 2 passes. He had 3 pass attempts, but he had 2 receptions. I forget how many yards. but they didn't really involve him much in the game plan. Now, looking at what they've done this season, I'm wondering if they don't trust Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be an every down back. That's what it seems that the issue is that maybe his size is a problem. I know the beginning of the season they were trying to punch it in the goal line with him, and he was getting stopped a lot. And so I do think in the NFL, a lot of times coaches really look at size, and at running back, that body mass, it matters, right? Like he's short, he's not really skinny. He weighs, I guess, somewhere around 190, but he's 5'7". And body mass matters when you're making contact with all these big defenders. So it's not only your strength, your explosiveness, but your mass plays a big part as well. And so I wonder if they don't trust that he can be an every down back, and they're not willing to give him the ball as much as they used to, like a Kareem Hunt when they had him a few years ago. And it really looks like they miss a Kareem Hunt type of back. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. But I thought that was a big problem in the game plan. And what I would like to see Patrick Mahomes do in his evolution as a quarterback is to take something out of the Peyton Manning playbook. So back in, I believe it was 2006, when the Colts won the Super Bowl, I think they were the top offense in the league, Peyton Manning's league MVP. They were extremely pass happy. They didn't have, they had Joseph Adai and Dominique Rose, right? They didn't have great running backs, but they went up against the Chicago Bears in that game, and they ran the ball 42 times for 191 yards. I think that's a 4.5 yard per carry average. So in what Peyton Manning used to do is he used to, again, he would get in shotgun a lot, but if the boxes were light, when I say light, 6-man boxes, 5-man boxes, he's going to run the football. If the defense says to do that, that's what he's going to do. A lot of people don't realize he used to get in spread a lot of times, and just to create that advantage. And so even Peyton Manning in that situation, going against Chicago, did that. I bring this example up is because Chicago under Lovie Smith used to run a lot of cover 2 man. They used to run a lot of cover 2, whether it was the Tampa 2, which the linebacker drops deep to take away the middle of the field. But they also ran a lot of cover 2 man. They may have ran some cover 2 zone. I'd have to go back and look at the game, but there was a lot of cover 2. The more the story is, they had 2 deep safeties. And so I bring that up is because what did Peyton Manning do? He took advantage of the defense by taking what the defense gives. The defense says, hey, you got to run the football. They're worried about the pass. And they came out a winner until Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl. And so that's what I would like to see the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes do, is whether he doesn't have the go-to, or I should say the green light to make checks at the line of scrimmage or not. That's something that he needs to have or do moving forward. And check the run plays, not just to other pass plays or what have you. He needs to be checking to run plays and look at what the defense is trying to do and exploit that weakness rather than just trying to pass and go up against it nonstop. And so that was one of the reasons why I thought they weren't going to make it to the Super Bowl, because I saw that a lot this season. I thought there was the Bills were going to get there. I know the Bills were an extremely pass-happy team too, but at least their quarterback used to run the ball a lot. And I thought that their defense overall was more talented. But it just came to a head when they played against Tampa Bay. And as much as we want to talk about the shiny weapons, the receivers, the tight end, the running back, it still comes to the line of scrimmage, guys. You have got to be able to win at the line of scrimmage. And that's what Tampa Bay did on both sides of the ball. Their offensive line was road great in the Chiefs' defensive line. And then on defense, their defensive line was destroying the Chiefs' offensive line. So Pat didn't really have much time. He was running around a lot. You can sit up here and say, oh, well, sometimes he escaped, when he didn't have to or whatever. Man, when you constantly getting pounded and they're knocking your offensive line back, even when you may have a little bit of protection, you're so you're so trigger happy, you're so worried about, man, I can't trust these guys to block for me. And so of course you're going to be running around. He was running for his life out there. I really felt bad for him. but I wouldn't count them out. But I do think there's some elements of things that they really need to change, because if they want to repeat, they're going to have to be more balanced, and they're going to see a lot of teams run cover two against them next year and force them to have to show that they can run the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to try to establish Clyde Edwards-Helaire as an every down back, or they're going to try to bring somebody else in that they trust can do that more and just kind of use Clyde, in a supplementary role. But that's an area they're going to have to address if they want to get back to the Super Bowl, because all it's going to do is get harder. The Bills are coming alive. We don't know what happens with Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun goes to a team like the Miami Dolphins and they bring in, a number one receiver, they already have a good defense, you could have some problems with the Dolphins. So, there is no guarantee that they get back to the Super Bowl. So,